So with Falcon and the Winter Soldier coming to an end, there are still a lot of questions that Marvel fans have not had answered. One of those being, who is the power broker? And as of this recording, we still don't have a definitive answer yet, but I think I have put together enough pieces to be 90% sure that I know who it is. Potential spoilers, by the way, just in case I am right. I don't want to get anyone mad thinking I ruined the show for them. This is just my theory. So again, I don't know as of this recording if it's true or not, but I think I've just done enough detective work to figure out that, yeah, it's him. I think I put enough pieces together to figure out that Zemo is probably, I'm like 99% sure that he's the power broker. So when you look at the show at face value, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Why would Zemo be the power broker if he's helping Sam and Bucky stop the Flag Smashers, and in doing so, basically stopping the power broker? One obvious reason would be to be broken out of prison. I mean, he's obviously rich, and he's been shown to have connections with the criminal underworld, so it wouldn't be that far-fetched for him to have used his connections while he was in prison to end up funding the super soldier serum program. Because if you remember, the doctor, the scientist guy that was working on the serum that no one remembers his name, he used to work for Hydra. And Zemo actually makes it a point when he's talking to Sam and Bucky when they're in his car garage that he did in fact hunt down people that used to work for Hydra, that worked on the serum. So imagine instead of Zemo killing the doctor, he uses him to his advantage, funds the project, makes the doctor create more serum. That way there would be another conflict for Zemo to be needed. So how exactly do I think this whole thing went down? The whole conflict regarding the serum in this show was all orchestrated by Zemo. He hired the scientist guy to recreate the serum, knowing that eventually he would be contacted by some of the Avengers, and when Bucky visits him, he literally says, "You are assuming Hydra has something to do with this, which is why you came to me," which means you are desperate. Zemo was literally telling Bucky the step-by-step things that had to happen for Bucky to eventually get to Zemo. And in that same scene, Zemo is telling Bucky about the book that he's reading by Machiavelli. And when we look at what Machiavellianism, I don't know if I'm saying that right, refers to a personality trait which sees a person so focused on their own interests, they will manipulate, deceive, and exploit others to achieve their goals. And then, when we look up the definition of what a power broker is in political science, a person who influences people to vote towards a particular client in exchange for political and financial benefits. Sound like anyone? Also, does anyone else find it strange that Zemo has literally been telling Sam and Bucky where to go every step of the way since episode 3? He's literally using Sam and Bucky as pawns in his own scheme, leading them to where he needs them to be in order to further his goals. A lot of people are saying that it might be Sharon Carter, but I think she would be a little too obvious. I mean, she's like this sketchy underworld criminal now who has all these resources and is always on the phone. I think that's a red herring. She's a distraction from who the power broker is, and I don't think at this point in the show they would end up revealing the power broker is like just some random evil business guy. You got to think in these shows everything has a purpose. There's one cohesive narrative, and the power broker has to be a character that we already know in this show. It's not John Walker, it's not any of the Flag Smashers. The only person that makes sense would be Zemo. He also has a lot of connections to Madripoor, which is known as the base of operations for the power broker, and also he just randomly happens to have some sort of alter ego with his mask. As soon as he put that mask on, it seemed like he turned into a completely different person, kicking butt and doing flips. It seemed like an entirely different character, and I feel like that was sort of like the foreshadowing of there is another side to Zemo. Also, there's a quote that he says when he's on the plane with Sam and Bucky, and I may be reading too much into this, but he tells them about super soldiers and how we put them on pedestals, and how after a while, we forget about their flaws. And I feel like that's what's been happening with this show, where Zemo's sort of become like this likable character now. It's weird, like Zemo was this character that essentially was responsible for the Avengers not being united when Thanos came. You could argue that to an extent it's Zemo's fault that Tony Stark is dead. If Zemo didn't happen, the Avengers would have stood their ground together, united, and instead Thanos was able to take advantage of the Avengers being disbanded, and obviously we all know how that ended. Zemo still blames the Avengers and superpowered people for what happened to his family. Let's not forget about that. He still very much hates superheroes and will do anything in his power to get rid of them. And as much as he's been buddy-buddy with Sam and Bucky, eventually we're going to have a moment where he does cross them, and we're going to hate it, but that's who the character is. There's already so many parallels with Civil War in this show that we've seen in the past episodes, like specific shots that are a mirror of others, or even a musical theme. And I feel like the parallels are only going to continue and get stronger as we see who is really behind all of this. Anyway, guys, that's who I think the power broker is going to be in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What are your theories, and do you agree with my theory? Or if you find any contradictions with what I've said, or you don't think it makes sense, please tell me why in the comments below. I don't think it's 100% going to happen, but you know, it's a fun thing to discuss. And yeah, it'd be cool if you guys let me know what you guys think. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time, and don't forget to subscribe.